Man, my hair is a mess. I need to get it cut. My hairline is looking on point, so I think I'm just gonna stick to the hat for this video. Right, so let's do this. Saudi Arabia, the home, the kingdom to about, I don't know, about 10,000 princes or so. I'm joking, chill. But seriously though, I've actually heard that it's harder to get a green card in the United States than it is to become a prince in Oh, can't say that joke, a little bit sensitive for the viewers. Okay. Anyway, moving on. The culture here in Saudi is very different compared to Western culture, or white culture for that matter. But seriously, what does white culture actually offer us in the places like the UK? Fish and chips, banging, good culture that. The ability to not pronounce our own language properly, absolutely amazing when people take the piss out of us because everything's getting better. And typically known to smell like Lynx deodorant on Christmas. Banging. But no, seriously though, the culture here can be super hard to live by, and many people have been known to run away. As we've seen in the media, it must be super hard. Kind of like my hairline running away from me.
I'm worth it.
Guys, welcome to another vlog. If you like that intro, you have no choice but to smash that like button and subscribe already. So today we are talking about Saudi. I've been here nearly 4 years now, so we're going to talk about what the internet says and what it's actually like, because let's be honest, the internet doesn't really give us that much. So I'm going to talk about 4 different parts, but man, I'm only messing around and I hope I don't offend anyone. I'm just giving my honest opinion, but don't worry, I've got to be honest. And it isn't as bad as what people think. I actually do really enjoy it here. I want to make that very clear as I start. So 4 points I'm going to be going over is what it's actually like to live here, love life here, the changes that are happening and the Crown Prince, and finally the good and bad points about living here. So I'm going to change the scene up a little bit between points. So I'll probably just spend the first point in this coffee shop here, and then I'll come and go and get along with it. So then that way you're not just seeing me sit here the whole time. Right, so let's crack on with point number 1. I'm going to go off this website saying what they think is happening, and I'm going to agree or disagree and give you my opinion on what is actually happening here. First thing it speaks about is how it is very different, but life is what you make it here. So yes, the culture is different, and yes, the laws are different, but you can adapt quite easily. If you have traveled anywhere in the world outside of your country, it's always going to be different. So the first thing is Islamic culture and Sharia law. In 2017, when I first got here, laws started to change and it was actually opened up quite a lot. The Crown Prince MBS, this guy did an awesome job and still is doing an awesome job in trying to make it more open, but while sticking to these laws and keeping the culture as it is, which I think is important. Like, for example, when I first got here, men and women didn't work together, women didn't drive, and you wouldn't see single, when I mean single, I mean non-marriage men and women hanging out with each other if they did not, if they weren't like relatives, if you will. So that has changed so much. You would see it, but not as much. So that is one big change that is happening here. Life is moving forward and becoming more, as we call it, Western, where in my case, normal. This is what I love. It speaks about expats saying life for expats is different because they live on a compound and it's like a holiday kind of village. They're right. I don't live on a compound. I live in an apartment. I actually prefer it. It's more of like my place to go. So it's like just normal. I feel like I can make it a home rather than feeling like I'm in a place like a holiday when it's actually not. Even though it'd be really cool to live on a compound because I would like a pool. But either way, I don't mind. I'm liking where I live. Something they say here is about in Saudi, alcohol being illegal, obviously. It's against Islamic culture and it's forbidden, if you will. We're not going to get touchy on that subject. But like anything illegal, anywhere in the world, you can always get hold of it. That is your own choice. It is a law, do as you will. Like for example, in my country, it is forbidden to do drugs. I know exactly where drug dealers are in my area for weed, for example, and it's just life. Something's illegal, there's always going to be places to get it illegally. That's life, it happens. So it's entirely up to you if you want it. What I'm going to tell you is though, coming here, it's easily possible to get alcohol, but you're going to pay the price. It is about 10 times, if not 50 times more expensive. For example, if you go to Tesco's and get a bottle of vodka, it's going to be about £10. Here, you are looking at around £200. You're going to pay the price. That is how it is. When something is illegal, obviously it's more expensive. Like if you go to any place in the world where weed is legal, it's going to be a lot cheaper than when it's not legal, obviously. Just to clarify, I'm not saying that I've done it, I'm not saying that I do it, I am just saying that it is possible, no matter where you are in the world, to get anything if you know the right people. It's life, that's what happens. It does say here that when it comes to hotels and resorts coming to Saudi in the West region, there may be places for alcohol, but officials have dismissed these reports, meaning that they are saying they are not confirming anything just as yet, and they are basically saying no. But in my opinion, you cannot have resorts in the west of Saudi if you can't have alcohol. My mum and dad would not come here to a lovely, banging 5-star resort on the side of the Red Sea if they'd had no alcohol. One thing that is true about Saudi Arabia, and I respect it so much, is family values. How close families are, how much of a clique they are, and how much they look after each other. In white culture, we really don't have that, let's be honest. I know I joked about it, but families aren't as close as when it comes to Arab and Asian culture, or even South American culture. In Islander culture, they're super close compared to us freaking white people. One thing I am going to speak about later on in the video is women here in Saudi. That's going to be covered in the love life in Saudi Arabia and how Saudi women have it here, because I think that is a subject we need to address, but we're just going to talk about life here in Saudi in general for anyone being here right now. So this website, if I'm honest, only gives it a brief details of what it's actually like here. In my experience of being here nearly 4 years, everything's opened up so much, and if you want to socialize with anyone, you can. If you want to meet people, you can. Even if it is just going to coffee shops, that's kind of like the bars here, if you will. I joke all the time and say, guys, you hitting the clubs this weekend, when I just mean the coffee shops. It's kind of like a joke that I say because this is the socializing place, it's live. But one thing that is incredible here is their fucking coffee. Fuck me. Coffee here is like on a different level. You can't even, which makes sense because if you can't have alcohol, you got to make something good, right? You got to make up for it. Talking about punishments and laws, yes, the death sentence is still here in Saudi, like other places in the States. So it does happen in the world. So you can't judge it for being here, and I completely agree with it. When it comes to very severe cases, like such as rape and murder, obviously I believe that this is clearly fair. But compared to a few years ago, it used to go boom, straight to the process, straight to the ending. But now there's more of a court process and more of a legal way of going about it. So you can see it's going forward and trying to grow, but I completely agree that the law should be there, because I don't think it's fair if something happens to these people that it should carry on. Do I think that these laws need to grow and develop? Yes, but it's just my opinion. I need a little break from talking for a minute, so let's go for a quick walk, and then we'll go through point number 2, love life in Saudi, where we talk about women here a bit more and how they have it, whether you're an expat or whether you're a Saudi woman yourself. Whew. Right, so thought I'd go for a little walk in front of the I Love Riyadh sign. So now we're outside and not in a coffee shop. I can kind of be a bit more out there, if you will. I was trying to be polite because I knew people were listening to my conversation with myself, which isn't weird at all, really, is it? But now I can be a bit more out there. I felt pretty bad people listening to me, and if I was being a bit of bubbly about a serious conversation, they'd be a bit weird. So, right, I'm gonna take this off. One thing that I did not mention before, and that is women don't need to cover their face anymore. They don't need to actually cover their hair. That has changed, which is freaking awesome for ladies that don't want to do it, but most people still cover their face here. You do see it quite a lot, but nowhere near as much as what you used to. So love life in Saudi, mashallah. Whew. Looking at ankles all the time. No, I'm joking. Please don't take offense to that because it was a joke. You know, let's be honest, how are you supposed to check someone out just from their ankles? Unless you have a weird fetish, I don't know. No, but seriously, so, love life in Saudi. People may say it may be super hard to meet people when it's all done online. You're kind of right. One is that it is done online. I met my girlfriend on Instagram, and that's how we started talking from there. and then we met up at a coffee shop. But online, on that website, it says that it is super hard to meet people, and dating is basically hard unless you're in a expat society or village or whatever, or at your own place. But that is not true. So let's have a look at what it says. First dates may be low-key affairs. If you live in a same compound or in yours, you will be likely to spend your first date at the movies, in the compound restaurant, and most Saudi society rules don't apply within the compound. That's true. Some restaurants in the cities also offer private cabins and getting gender mixed in there. Anyway, that's not true. You can go on dates, it's kind of normal, it happens, but as long as if you're not talking shit about it and making it super obvious. Obviously you're not kissing, you're not hugging, you're not being openly sexual in public. Just clarify, sexual does not mean freaking banging someone on the table. It means talking in a sexual manner outside any sort of physical contact. That is what I meant. So as long as if you're not doing that, it's gonna be okay and people kind of cool with it, especially if you're an expat. When you are a Westerner, it's kind of obvious. People can see it a lot easier, especially if you're talking English. So if I'm honest with you, if you are dating a Saudi woman or a Saudi man is dating a Westerner, it can be a little bit different, but most people don't care. They're like, do you know what? You do you, boo, as people would say. Like, for example, my girlfriend's here. I don't put her on camera, but it doesn't matter. I have my girlfriend here and I kind of keep it all to myself. That is one thing I've learned about the country, is that you don't need to tell everyone everything about your life. And I think love life should be a little bit private, and I think it is essential. Doesn't mean you don't talk about it, doesn't mean you don't respect it, but it just means that is yours. One thing the website did tell you, it's all about online. It's true. Snapchat, Tinder, dating sites, Grindr if you will. I don't even know if that exists here. I should really find out. I'll find out later on if Grindr is here. Super risky though. It happens all the time, and the reason why people do it, it's private. Snapchat is so popular here because boom, gone. And it's important because people are judged here sometimes and they don't care what other people think, they say, but they don't want to be judged and seen as a certain way when they're actually not. Because people do that here, unfortunately, and that is kind of a downside we'll talk about later on. But dating happens, Snapchat is popular, people ask for each other's Snapchat, no matter any age. You'll have big people on social media on Snapchat in their 30s and maybe even 40s, because that's kind of like how the dating scene goes here. So yes, it's all about social media first, getting to know someone, calling, texting, sexting, whatever happens. Then you end up meeting up and going on dates a little bit more. So this is what me and my girlfriend did, because that's how it is here a little bit more. Met online, through Instagram, spoke a little bit, then we went on a few dates. It's life and it happens. But so, whereas before, it used to be more going on dates first and then talking online, and then whatever happens, happens. But first of all, you gotta think it's the 21st century. Social media is freaking huge no matter what, so you're going to talk more online. So that's kind of one thing, and people probably do that anywhere else in the world, but you're more likely gonna meet people online, and there's apps where you can meet people in the area around you. You can check in, I don't even know what they're called, but it's ways to meet people in the area around you, so you can get their number, get their snap, see each other's faces, and that's the way you meet people. It's a little bit different, yes, but it's trying to stick to easy laws, easy guidelines, and get away with stuff without trying to break anything. I don't know why I said break anything. It's not a law to not talk to someone you don't know. It's not against the law, so. It's trying to keep it nice and safe and keeping it nice and private, like I said, which is super important. So dating happens. Social media happens, sexting happens, it happens here. You can meet people. It's just more online rather than in person. Right. I'll be honest with you, I need to sort this out. Look, we've talked about my hairline, my hair's looking crap, beard's looking crap. I think it's time for me to go get a haircut, let's be honest. Right, so, obviously it's a lot darker when I last saw you guys. So, basically, something that happens here in Saudi is that they close for prayer time. And then I went to go get a haircut during prayer time, and I couldn't, because obviously it was closed. Why do they close? Because it's prayer time. They want people to go pray. It's in the name. Basically, they close prayer time because they want people that are Muslim to go pray. Even if you are not Muslim, your place is still closed and you have to pay extra money to be open. And I went just now to go to the barbershop. Thought I'd go now, and it's super busy. The normal barbershop I go to is a walk-in, they're super busy. So then I decided to go to a different one, then you have to book. So I was like, fuck it, I'll book tomorrow. So I'll still look a little bit scruffy for the video, so it's all good. So Saudi Arabia, where were we? Now we're talking about women. Life for women here. So if I'm perfectly honest with you, it's gonna be very different for expat women to Saudi women. So if you're gonna come visit us, please watch my video of opinions of ladies living here in Saudi. They are Saudi women, and it's gonna be very different. But for Saudi expats, it's very similar to most people. You don't have to wear an abaya anymore, so that's a plus side. People look, may judge, but you don't need to wear an abaya. Doesn't matter. So, but people still do and respect it. It's perfectly fine. It's a little bit like Dubai. You don't have to wear an abaya there, but you have to cover your legs. So expat women come in here, cover up, be conservative if you will, however you want to say it. Just don't show a lot of skin. Very easy. Can't go around in a crop top, sports bra, and some, you know, booty shorts. The men would probably love it. Actually, they may or may not. I don't know. There's a word in Arabic, we call it fitna. Too much fitna going around, so can't have that. But Saudi women may have it a little bit harder depending on family to family. The laws help them out a little bit, but obviously culture does not change, and I think it is going to be a bit of a touchy subject. So what I'm going to do is I'm outside my apartment, I'm going to sit down, and then we can talk about it, because this is going to be a topic which I want to focus on. I don't want to disrespect people, and I want to make sure that the point does come across. Give me a sec. Oh, right, so we were just saying that if you're an expat in Saudi, that you kind of have it, you know, a little bit better than Saudi women. I am going to add one thing to this, and that is, unfortunately, if I'm honest with you, some men don't know how to talk to women here, and they can be a little bit weird or just not be able to speak to a woman normally. Can you imagine your whole life, so let's say 25 years, not speaking to a woman, and then all of a sudden they change the laws and men and women can now interact, and they try and chat people up and women don't like it, and it can come across as a little bit of harassment. I'm not saying all people, you get it everywhere in the world, but it has happened here. Unfortunately, this is what happened quite a few times, and even people that I know, and hearing about incidents, you're just like, what? Like, you don't understand the thought process that people have done to talk about and say things that they have to the women. But in their defense, if you don't know how to speak to a woman, then you're not really gonna know what to do. But the government are doing a freaking awesome job at now having an application where you can put in where you were harassed, what happened, the point, who, and you know, put in as much details as possible and trying to get something done about it. And you can get fined quite massively for it. Up to 100,000 riyals, which is £20,000. So that's quite a lot. They're trying to knuckle down it, which I think is freaking awesome. But that is something that the government are trying to help out, but people are still finding super weird because, I don't know, like, imagine hanging around with a load of dudes, having a load of guy chat, joking around about stupid stuff, and then having to speak to a woman. Like, it is different, yeah, but, yeah. Anyway, moving on. This next bit is kind of a touchy topic, and that is women here. We've done videos in the past right here where we have spoke to Saudi women and talking about life here. I think law-wise it is getting a lot better, and an amazing job by Mohammed bin Salman, once again, the Crown Prince, pushing it and making it a lot better for Saudi women and making the laws, the actual laws of the country, quite fair. But unfortunately, culture and family restrictions. This is different from family to family. Like anywhere else in the world, different families can be strict in the UK compared to others. But unfortunately, sometimes it can get quite bad. And yes, you can hear of incidents of women unfortunately run away because of the situation, or, this is all in the news by the way, I'm not making anything up, or, you know, beatings or anything bad has happened, and it does happen. But you cannot deny this doesn't happen elsewhere in the world. Maybe it isn't spoke about as much because maybe it isn't as big of a deal compared to here, but it does happen everywhere in the world. I know a girl I went to school with, one of my ex-girlfriends, her mum literally would not let her outside of the house without like her being there or someone of her family being there, and I thought it was so weird But here, it was normality. I know you may think I'm making it up, but people I went to school with will back me up and be like, I had to hang out outside of her front door in her front garden just to talk. So weird, it was so weird. Even to kiss her, I had to like make sure no one was watching. It was super weird. Anyway, this is kind of what it is here. Some people won't allow their children to be in certain situations, social situations, because they don't want them talking to other men. This is what I find a little bit strange as well. Sometimes in situations, they're more lenient with the man than they are the woman. They're more like, oh, their son, you can date, it's fine, but the woman, no. And I've known this to happen. And yes, it's biased, but this is more due to the culture that has happened over the years. And it's very hard to change a culture and a mindset over the course of 30, 40 years, especially when, you know, grandmas and granddads and whatever you want to call them have been brought up this way. So it does get quite hard to change that. But I think over time, the new, well, millennials, whatever you want to call it, Gen Z, I don't know what they're called, but the new generation coming up is making a change and they're being more open-minded. With regards to Saudi women dating people outside of, you know, Saudi and expat, I am being super safe. It depends on the family. Some people are okay with it. I've met up with Saudi girls that some families are okay hanging out with guys that are, or any guys in general, and some not. So it does depend on the family and the strictness, but I think that's anywhere else in the world. But right now I think it can be quite a touchy topic to address, and it is quite hard for the women to tell their parents everything and be honest, because they're not sure how they're going to react, because even though they're becoming more open-minded with the laws changing, they may not be okay with their daughter doing it. And that's unfortunately the biased thing that does happen. I'm not saying it's good, I'm not saying it's bad. I just think you should treat everyone the exact same, whether it's your daughter or whether it's your wife or whether it's just a random woman that you're speaking to, or like a girlfriend. You should treat everyone the exact same and stick to the same morals, rather than be like, oh, I don't mind my friends or son dating girls, but I don't want my wife or my daughter talking to men at all. It's like, okay, you gotta pick and choose, you know, you gotta make sure it's the same. That's my only opinion on it. You should treat everyone the exact same. But if you have any questions about women here in Saudi, smash me again a message on Instagram, perfectly fine, or anything else. Life for women, we can explain in more detail. But I do think it is getting better here. A couple of laws will hopefully change soon. And it does make a huge difference with Saudi women being able to drive, women being able to travel without any permission from their guardian, i.e. husband or father. So it is changing so much to be more equal, and Mohammed bin Salman is pushing for that, and I've got to give respects to him. Going into the topic of change and the Crown Prince, MBS, he's doing a freaking awesome job at trying to change the laws here whilst trying to keep the culture. But not the super strict way, what we spoke about, but trying to keep the means and the mentality, because it is a very cultured country, and they do want to open it up and people to come visit to see the culture, because it is beautiful. And everyone, the family is super close, and that's incredible. But trying to open the laws where people can have, you know, people are equal, men and women, rather than it being super crazy. But he's doing a freaking awesome job there. Right, so I'm just gonna finish up with good and bad points here in Saudi, and it's going to be my honest opinion. I'm going to give as small points as possible, and I'm going to start with the good and we're going to end with the bad, because I know that is something that you guys really want to see. Good points here in Saudi, obviously there's an obvious reason what is a good point, and that is the money. If you are a Westerner, normally your living expenses are paid for, a lot of things are paid for, and your accommodation, your travel to and from work, and all the money you have is just on food and maybe anything else that you want to do in your life, travel or whatever. And financially, it is a very big pro. Other Middle Eastern countries don't have that amazingness of paying for everything. So I must admit that is a very good pro, and that is the main reason most people come here. But there is many other pros here as well. First of all, the food and the coffee is incredible. Like, obviously if you don't have alcohol, you got to up the standard of everything else, and that is the next amazing thing. So if you like mixing up the food, mixing up the coffee, it is absolutely amazing to come here just for that. So even if you want to come visit Saudi, which you can, coming just to see the culture, the food, and the coffee is amazing. Next point is kind of like something more for me, is that if your family is different to mine, and I get it, but I love it so much how close families are here, how much they respect their families, how much they'll do anything for them. We'll do anything for our families anyway, but here it's a little bit different, and family is the #1 thing, and nothing before, like nothing. It goes, from what I've been told, correct me if I'm wrong, it literally goes Allah, your parents, family, everything else. And I respect that the most, and no matter what happens in life, I think that is something we can all learn from. Whether you're religious or not, if you are religious, it's God, it's your parents, then it's the rest of your family, and well, or your wife, you know, then nothing else after that. And I think that is something we can all learn from. And because sometimes we do prioritize other people in our lives or other things in our lives over family. So that is an incredible thing to see here, and I appreciate it a lot. The people is going to be a positive, and it can be linked to a negative. We did speak about people not being open-minded previously, and also being a bit weird with unable to speak to women. But most people that I've had in contact with are super friendly, kind, like speaking to you, like to hear about it, like what you think of the country, and they actually are genuinely interested in what you think, but interested in you as a person, which I appreciate a lot. Because being genuine where I live, it doesn't happen as much. And let's be honest, a typical UK person can come across quite rude, whereas here people come across a lot more friendly, which I appreciate the most. Whether it's fake or not, I don't know, but from my experience, most people are quite friendly, and that is a huge positive. And if you are close with someone, they'll gladly take you out for dinner and just make sure you feel comfortable here, and no matter what it is, and that is super incredible. And then something we've all been waiting for, the cons, the bad stuff, the serious shit. What is the bad stuff that goes on here, and why is it bad? Whew. Number one is an obvious one, and that is probably freedom. A little bit less freedom from everyone in the world. Like, you're thinking, Liam, what do you mean by freedom? You're a Westerner. I'm not saying about me, I'm saying about people in general. Like, because of people judgment here, people judge each other, people don't feel as free to be able to talk about and do things, whether they want to go meet up with women, party, whatever they want to do. Some people drink here, yes, but they feel judged by telling people this, and that is a con for me. Like, unfortunately, the one thing is that in the religion of Islam, the number one thing they say is that you cannot judge someone else's relationship with Allah. And that is one of the number one things I've been told many, many times. But what happens is that people end up judging people because they're not living the same way as them in terms of religion or in life. And I think some people need to learn that number one important rule again. Yes, you want everyone to live a very meaningful life towards the religion, and I think that is very important because this is mainly the culture here, but you can't judge someone else's aspect of how they live their life. If someone doesn't want to wear an abaya, you know, a woman, if a man wants to go party, if, you know, they want to travel and the woman wants to wear short shorts and the man is okay with that. A man allows their daughter to date. If a man allows their daughter or boy to marry outside of the tribe or culture or somewhere else, and it's okay. Why? Because that is their decision and you can't judge it, you know. And I think that is a bad thing, unfortunately. People do judge, and that is a big con. But so people kind of hide their life a little bit more and keep more in secret, which then becomes a good thing, because keeping your love life and your personal life a secret is kind of good because you don't want people knowing your business. That is kind of my main bad point. And the next bad point, terrible, driving, freaking shit. People don't know how to drive here, I swear. People are texting all the way around. Lanes, fuck them. There's no such thing as lanes. It's zigzagging across, going fucking everywhere. And you're being an Uber driver, this guy's driving with his freaking toe, texting like, texting away, and then he'll be worried that he crashed, and I'm like, what? You clearly weren't paying attention, so obviously you're gonna crash. And what happens is when people crash, they just stay in the middle of the road, so it causes a lot more traffic. Like, you're making it worse for everyone else. Just move out of the way, but in the area, and then let authorities sort it out. But stupid. But that is the next con. Like, that is the two bad points, I would say. And I think people may feel other factors about it here, other factors, or feel like there's other things I've missed. I'm trying to keep it a little bit short and end the video here. So if there's any questions, hit me up on my Instagram. If you've liked the video, smash that like button, leave your comments below. And guys, if you want me to talk more about Saudi Arabia in a bit more detail about a certain topic, I'm being quite broad in the time I've had, even though it's quite long, let me know. And guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Until next time. Guys, thank you. Peace.